The Galactic Council had one rule that all species followed: never disturb the humans. That law had existed for over 300 years. It was not written on stone, but everyone knew it. Every planet, every leader, every explorer. Because long ago, the humans did something terrible, something the galaxy could never forget. But now, someone broke the law. The Varnak were a small alien race from a desert planet. They were curious, greedy, and new to space travel. They did not believe in old stories. They did not fear old ghosts. Their leader, General Cloth, stood in his silver ship near Earth's orbit. "Look at it," he said, his 4 eyes blinking. Dead, silent, empty. His officer looked worried. "But the law?" Cloth laughed. "Fairy tales. The council made up stories to scare us." He gave the order. Land. The ship landed on the edge of a ruined Earth city. Tall metal towers stood broken. Roads were covered in dust. No life. No movement. General Cloth and his team stepped outside in full armor. They carried scanners, weapons, and cameras. "This place is dead," said one soldier. Another said, "It's too quiet." Suddenly, their scanners picked up something underground. A weak signal. Faint. Like a heartbeat. Cloth smiled. "Find it." The team entered a broken building. Its walls were old but strong. Inside, they found a dark stairway leading deep below the surface. As they moved down, lights flickered on by themselves. Click, click, click. One by one. "Something's still alive here," whispered a soldier. They reached a door made of black metal. It opened with a hiss. Inside was a round chamber. In the center floated a glass orb glowing faint blue. Cloth stepped forward. "This is it. This is proof. We were right." He touched the orb. Suddenly, alarms blared. "BEEEP! BEEEE!" Red lights flashed. The orb spoke in a deep human voice. "Protocol breach detected. Identity. Non-human. Consequence. Activated." Cloth shouted, "Get out." But the door slammed shut. Outside, the ship waiting above lost contact. Cloth and his team never came back. 1 week later, the Galactic Council received a signal from the Varnak ship. The message was broken and full of static. Only one sentence was clear. "We were wrong. It's not dead." Then silence. The Council grew cold with fear. They sent a small drone to orbit Earth and check from a safe distance. The drone entered Earth's atmosphere. For a moment, everything was normal. Then, a flash of light hit it. The drone returned, but it was melted, half destroyed. Yet something was written on its blackened shell. "Burned in. You should not have come." Panic spread across the council. An emergency meeting was called. Thousands of alien races joined the holocall. The Tharn Emperor said, "We told them. We warned them. Now look." The Zyran Queen said, "They touched Earth. Now it's awake." The Speaker of the Council said, "We must act quickly, before it's too late." But act how? Earth had been quiet for 300 years. No ships, no signals, no wars, just silence. And now, that silence was cracking. On a small outpost far from Earth, a young alien scout named Yeren watched the news with wide eyes. She had heard the stories since childhood. Humans were monsters. Humans were creators of great machines, machines that could erase planets. But she never believed it. Until now. A friend beside her said, "Do you think it's true? That they're still alive?" Yeren didn't answer. She was already packing her gear. She had to see it for herself. Meanwhile, deep under Earth's surface, something moved. Old machines woke up. Eyes opened. Lights turned on. The ground trembled, just a little. In a dark chamber, a figure opened its eyes for the first time in centuries. It looked human, but it was more. It whispered, "Protocol 0. Begin memory sync. Screens lit up around it, showing old war files, enemy species, council history. It watched everything. Then it said, "They broke the law. Now they will remember why it existed." High above Earth, deep in the stars, more alien ships began to move. Some were curious, others afraid, some ready for war. But one thing was clear. The humans were waking up, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy had one rule: never disturb the humans. But the Varnak had broken it. Now, the galaxy was waking up to something terrifying. The message from Earth had spread like wildfire across the stars. You should not have come. It was a warning, but it was too late. High in orbit, Yaren sat alone in her small ship. She had heard the stories. Everyone had. The humans were a lost species. For years, they had been nothing more than a memory. A few ancient ruins, a few forgotten technologies. But most of all, silence. The galaxy had assumed the humans were gone. But Yaren didn't believe it. She couldn't. Her people, the Zorvans, had seen many worlds, traveled to the farthest reaches of space, and yet she still remembered the old stories. The humans were different. They had power, unseen power. As Yaren neared Earth, the comm system in her ship crackled. A voice echoed from the stars. "This is Commander Vale of the Galactic Council. Do not approach Earth. Repeat, do not approach." Yaren's fingers hovered over the controls. She could feel the weight of history in her chest. The Council was scared. That was clear. But she didn't listen. She couldn't. Yaren had to see for herself. The moment she crossed into Earth's orbit, something strange happened. Her sensors went wild. Heat readings, strange energy fields. Every system in her ship blinked red. Something was down there. Something powerful. She brought her ship low, down through the atmosphere, and into the ruins of an ancient city. Buildings cracked and broken. Roads turned to dust. The silence was deafening. Yaren stood on the ship's deck, staring out at the broken land. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just an old planet. This wasn't just a forgotten world. This was Earth. She activated her comms, speaking to the rest of her crew. "Everyone, suit up. We're going down. Stay alert." As they stepped out onto the surface, the wind howled through the empty streets. There was no life. No animals. No birds. It was like a ghost town. But then, deep in the distance, Yaren saw it. A glow. Faint at first. It was coming from below the ground. Her crew followed, moving quickly. The ground was cracked, and the glow got stronger. They reached a massive metal door hidden beneath a pile of rubble. It was ancient but still intact. The light seemed to pulse from behind it. Yaren's heart raced. She knew what this was. A vault. A hidden place. Her crew leader, a tall Zorvan named Zarek, stepped forward. "We don't know what's in there," he said. Yaren didn't reply. She just pressed a button. The door slid open with a deep mechanical groan. Inside was dark. But Yaren's suit lit up the space. They entered. In the center of the chamber was an enormous orb, glowing softly in the dark. It looked like it was made of crystal, but it was unlike anything Yaren had ever seen. The air was heavy around it, thick with energy. As they stepped closer, a low hum filled the room. Zarek looked at Yaren. "What is it?" Yaren stepped forward, her hand outstretched toward the orb. Then, a voice echoed through the chamber. A human voice. "Welcome home." The lights flared brighter. Suddenly, screens activated all around them, showing images, old battles, wars, humans fighting against alien invaders, massive machines, and at the center of it all, the humans, strong, focused, unstoppable. Yaren's eyes widened. "Who are you?" she whispered. The voice spoke again, clearer now, stronger. "I am the memory of Earth. I remember everything. The wars, the peace, the power that you could never imagine. The humans are not gone. They are watching, and they will return. Yeren stepped back, her mind racing. She turned to Zurich. We need to leave. Now. But it was too late. The walls of the chamber began to shift. Large metal doors slammed shut. The ground rumbled beneath their feet. Outside, the sky darkened. Back in space, a large fleet of alien ships had entered Earth's orbit. They were not the Varnak. These were bigger, stronger ships. Galactic warships sent by the Council to stop what they feared was awakening. Yeren's ship shook as the energy around Earth grew stronger. The humans were awake. Inside the chamber, Yeren felt something else. A presence. A force. It wasn't just technology. It wasn't just the past. It was alive. The orb's light flickered, and suddenly, a massive machine appeared from beneath the floor. It rose slowly like a giant titan. Its eyes glowed red, and it looked alive, a machine that had been waiting. Waiting for something. Yeren whispered, "What is this?" The voice answered, "The humans are not lost. They are waiting. You disturbed us. Now you will learn why the law exists." The ground trembled again. A voice echoed in the distance. "You should not have come." Back in orbit, the alien ships grew closer. But Earth was not weak. The energy fields around the planet surged. Machines, ancient and forgotten, began to rise. Drones, mechs, weapons, so many weapons. The galaxy was about to learn the truth. The humans were never gone. Yeren's ship took off from Earth's surface, racing into the sky. The crew was terrified, but Yeren couldn't look away. Something terrible was coming, and she couldn't stop it. The galaxy had learned its mistake. The humans were not extinct. They were not weak. They were just waiting. Now, the world was changing. Yeren's ship raced through the stars, leaving Earth behind. She could still feel the presence of the planet, even from this far away. The crew was silent. The fear was real. No one had expected Earth to be like this. No one had expected the machines, the memory, the power. Yeren sat alone in the cockpit, her mind spinning. She had just witnessed something alive beneath Earth's surface, a force that could change everything. But what was it? Was it the last of the humans, or something more? Back in orbit, the alien warships waited. They had come to fight, to stop whatever was rising on Earth. But they had no idea what was coming for them. Hours later, Yeren received an encrypted message. She opened it carefully, her heart racing. It was from the Galactic Council. "Report to the nearest station. You've seen too much. The Council needs to know what happened on Earth." Now, Yeren's hands gripped the control panel. She could feel the weight of their words. The Council didn't just want answers. They wanted control. She looked at her crew. They were tired, shaken, but they all knew what had to be done. "We're going back," Yeren said. "We need to understand what Earth is now, and we need to stop it before it's too late." Meanwhile, back on Earth, the machines began to move. Across the planet, ancient defense systems hummed to life. Towers of metal and stone rose from the ground. Cities, long forgotten, woke up. The orb Yeren had seen. It was calling them. It called to the mechs, to the machines, to the drones buried deep beneath the surface. It was the last echo of human technology, the last of their memory. And now, the machines were ready. In the dark command center deep under Earth, a figure stood. It wasn't human, but it looked human. The face was smooth, like metal. But the eyes were human. It looked at the screens, at the rising machines, at the stars above. It was awake. It whispered to itself, "They came. They broke the law. Now we will show them what it means to disturb us." Back in space, Yeren's ship made the jump back to Earth. They couldn't wait any longer. The galaxy was watching. The Council was waiting. And the machines on Earth were waking up. They had to act. But as they neared the planet, something strange happened. The sky above Earth began to change. It twisted, a ripple in space, like a wave crashing against a wall. The stars blinked out, one by one. And then a voice echoed through Yaren's ship. "You should have stayed away." It wasn't just a voice, it was everywhere. In the ship, in their minds, inside them. Yaren froze. What is this? Suddenly, the ship's systems began to fail. Power flickered. The communication channels went dark. Even the navigation was lost. A second later, the ship was pulled toward Earth. It was as if the planet had opened its eyes, and it was looking straight at them. Below, Earth's surface rumbled again. The machines, the drones, the mechs, and the orb had all connected. They were not just technology anymore. They were alive. Yaren's ship crashed to the surface. Dust and smoke filled the air as the ship's hull cracked open. But Yaren and her crew were alive. They climbed out, shaken but determined. "We have to find the orb," Yaren said, her voice steady. Zarek, her crew leader, glanced at the burning sky. "What if we can't stop it?" Yaren didn't answer. She didn't have time for fear. She had seen what Earth had become. They couldn't ignore it. No one could. As they walked through the ruins of the city, they could feel the eyes of the machines on them. They weren't just watching. They were waiting. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet shook. A large metal arm shot up from the earth, almost crashing into them. Yaren jumped back. "We need to move faster." They found the underground vault, the place where it all began. The orb was still there, glowing softly. But now something had changed. The machines weren't waiting anymore. They were attacking. Yaren pulled her team inside the vault. The doors slammed shut, but the sound of heavy footsteps echoed outside. The voice spoke again. "You woke us. Now you will face the consequences." The machines moved closer. They weren't just machines. They were humans' legacy, alive and powerful. And they were ready to finish what had begun. Yaren and her crew had no choice. They had to stop them. But how? The machines had risen. Earth was no longer a dead world. It was alive, awake. The consequences of disturbing the planet were unfolding fast. Yaren and her crew huddled inside the vault beneath Earth's surface, trapped with only one thought on their minds: survive. Outside, the sound of heavy machinery filled the air. They could feel the vibrations through the walls. The machines were everywhere. They were alive. Yaren turned to her crew. "We need to stop this. Now." Zarek, her leader, was panting, sweat dripping down his face. "How? How do we stop something that's alive?" Before Yaren could answer, the voice spoke again. It wasn't just a voice. It was in their heads, like a thought they couldn't shake. "You woke us. Now you will face the price of your curiosity." The vault shook. The voice continued, colder now. "The humans are not gone. We are their last echo. And we will make you remember why the law exists." Yaren's heart raced. She had seen the orb. It had shown them the history of Earth, of the humans. But now she understood. The machines weren't just machines. They were the humans' creations, their last defense, waiting for anyone who dared to disturb them. The humans had made these machines to protect themselves, to protect Earth. But no one knew they still existed. Yaren's crew quickly moved through the vault, searching for any way to stop the machines. There had to be a control panel, a weakness, something. Suddenly, Yaren froze. She saw something glowing in the corner of the room. It was another orb, this one smaller, but it was alive with energy. It pulsed with a soft blue light. "Is this?" Zarek whispered. Yaren approached the orb carefully. She could feel its power, like a heartbeat. Without thinking, she reached out and touched it. Suddenly, the world around them changed. The vault walls dissolved. They were no longer underground. They were in space, or at least, that's what it felt like. Images flashed before their eyes. They saw the history of the humans, Their wars, their battles, their machines. They saw humans standing before massive weapons, weapons that could destroy entire planets. They saw Earth, alive, not as a planet, but as a force. And then they saw it. The humans had created this system, the machines, the orbs, the vaults, as a last measure, a way to ensure their survival in case the galaxy ever tried to forget them. The galaxy had forgotten. Yeren gasped as the vision ended. She was back in the vault, but everything felt different. The air felt heavier. The walls closed in. The machines outside were getting closer. She looked at her crew. It wasn't just a warning. It was a test. Zarek raised his eyes. A test. Yeren nodded. The humans never wanted to leave. They built these machines to protect Earth, to protect themselves. And now, the machines are judging us. Suddenly, the voice spoke again. You are not the first to seek answers. Many have come before you, but no one has been able to stop us. The lights flickered. The vault began to shake again. Yeren felt the pressure building. We don't have much time. A loud noise shook the vault's entrance. The machines outside were too close. Yeren and her crew scrambled to find an escape, but the machines weren't just outside anymore. They were inside. The vault door slid open, and metal mechs stepped inside. They were tall, powerful, covered in glowing lights and intricate designs. Their eyes were red, like fire. Yeren's breath caught in her throat. It's too late. But then, something changed. The orb in Yeren's hand glowed brighter. It began to speak. The humans remember, and so will you. The walls of the vault shifted. The machines stopped moving. The lights flickered, and for a moment, everything went still. Yeren felt it. A connection. A force. It was the humans, their legacy, their memories. The machines weren't just machines. They were alive with the will of humanity. The voice echoed one final time. We are not the enemy. You are. Suddenly, the mechs turned and walked away. They didn't chase. They didn't attack. They left. Yeren stood frozen. The machines were retreating, but she couldn't understand why. Zarek spoke first, his voice low. What just happened? Yeren looked at the orb in her hand. The humans, they didn't want us to destroy them. They just wanted us to remember. Above Earth, in the stars, the fleet of galactic ships watched in silence. They had seen the machines retreat. They had seen Earth's power. And they understood now. Earth wasn't just another dead planet. It was something much more. The humans had returned, not with fire and weapons, but with memory. And their legacy was alive again. But for Yeren and her crew, the story wasn't over. There was still much to learn, much to discover. The orb still hummed with energy. The machines were still out there, waiting. And the humans, they had just begun to show their true power. The galaxy had made a mistake. The humans were not gone. They had only been waiting. And now, the true power of Earth was beginning to unfold. Yeren stood in the vault, her hands trembling around the glowing orb. The machines had stopped, but the tension in the air was thick, as if Earth itself was holding its breath. The voice from the orb echoed in their minds again. The humans remember, and so will you. Yeren looked at Zarek. What does it mean? Zarek wiped sweat from his forehead, his face pale. I don't know, but something's happening. The machines, they're not attacking anymore. They've stopped. Yeren nodded, but her mind raced. The machines weren't gone. They were just waiting. And so were the humans. Earth was ready to rise again. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. Yeren turned quickly. We need to get out of here. Zarek led the way as they ran through the vault. The walls shook harder, the lights flickering. Something was happening on Earth. Something big. They reached the surface, stepping out into the ruins of the city. The sky above was darker, almost as if it were alive. A storm was brewing, but it wasn't just any storm. It was the planet waking up. In the distance, towering metal figures moved. The machines were coming to life again, but this time, they weren't just roaming aimlessly. They were gathering, assembling in perfect formation, like soldiers ready for war. Yeren watched in awe. What is this? What's happening? Zarek stared at the machines. This is Earth's power. The humans built these to defend themselves, but it's more than that. They're connected to the planet itself. Yeren understood. The machines weren't just tools. They were part of Earth, the living defense system. And now, it was waking up. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of the galaxy, the Council ships watched Earth with growing fear. They had sent fleets to destroy the humans before, but they had never seen anything like this. The machines were unlike any technology they had ever encountered. The Council was scared. The humans had always been their biggest mystery. Their power was something that the galaxy had never fully understood. Now it was clear. Earth was not a planet to be forgotten. It was a force. The voice echoed again, deep in space, through every ship's communication system. The humans are not gone. We have only been waiting. Back on Earth, the machines began to rise. Massive titans of metal, each one different from the other, but all connected by a single purpose. They marched toward the cities, and the very ground beneath them seemed to react, shifting, growing, changing. Yeren felt the air around her crackle with energy. Zarek pulled her aside. We need to stop this. If Earth keeps waking up like this, nothing in the galaxy will be safe. Yeren shook her head. We can't stop it. The humans are ready. They never wanted to destroy us. They just wanted to be left alone. Zarek's eyes flashed with doubt. What if we can't control it? What if Earth destroys everything around it? Yeren stared at the machines, knowing Zarek's fears weren't unfounded. But something deep inside told her that Earth's power wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to protect. As they watched, the machines gathered at the edge of the city, forming a wall of steel and energy. Yeren felt a chill run down her spine as the sky above began to shift, dark clouds swirling, lightning flashing. Then, a voice boomed from the machines, from the very planet itself. You have disturbed the peace, but now you will understand why the humans chose this world. We are not weak. We are alive, and we will protect ourselves. Suddenly, the machines raised their arms. The ground shook beneath their feet, and energy waves blasted from the machines, rippling through the atmosphere. Yeren staggered back, the force almost knocking her off her feet. This is just the beginning, she whispered. Back in space, the Council ships hovered, watching in silence. Their communications were flooded with reports from across the galaxy. Every alien species, every ship, every military outpost was shocked. Earth's power was too much. The galaxy had miscalculated. One ship sent a message to the Council. The humans have awakened. They are not what we thought. The Council responded quickly. Prepare to make contact. We can no longer ignore Earth. Back on Earth, Yeren and her crew stood facing the massive machines. The energy was growing stronger, more intense. It wasn't just the machines that were awakening anymore. Earth itself was alive. But what did that mean for the future? Suddenly, a new figure emerged from the machines, a massive mech, unlike anything Yeren had seen before. It was different, more human, more alive. It stepped forward, its eyes glowing with an ancient light. Yeren gasped. Who are you? The mech's voice was deep, resonating in the air. I am the last of the humans' guardians. We were made to protect this world. And now we will protect it from those who seek to harm it. Yeren felt a surge of hope. The guardians weren't just machines. They were the humans' final defense. But then, a warning flashed in her mind. The Council would come, and they would not stop until Earth was under control. Yeren made a decision. We need to warn them. We need to tell the galaxy that the humans aren't gone. They've just been waiting. Zarek hesitated. But can we stop this? Can we stop Earth from destroying everything? Yeren didn't have an answer. She could feel the planet's power growing. Earth was waking up. And now, the galaxy would have to decide if they were ready to face the truth. The humans were alive, and their power was real. The galaxy was watching. They had never seen anything like this before. Earth, the planet they thought was dead, was alive. Its machines, its power, were rising, and they were ready for a fight. The humans had awakened their greatest defense. But was it too late for peace? Yeren and her crew stood in the shadows of the massive machines, their bodies tense as they felt the planet's power grow stronger. Earth's heartbeat was louder now, and every step they took shook the ground beneath them. The sky above was dark, swirling with clouds of energy, lightning flashing like it was alive. Yeren knew the galaxy was watching, but the question was, would Earth be left alone, or would the galaxy come to take control? Back in space, the Council's ships hovered in silent formation, watching the energy building on Earth. The power coming from the planet was unstoppable. A message was sent to the highest leaders of the galaxy. We must act now. Earth's power is more dangerous than we thought. It will destroy everything if we don't stop it. The leaders, sitting in the Grand Council chambers, stared at the images of Earth on their screens. They could see the massive machines, the glowing lights, and the power growing by the minute. We cannot let Earth rise, one leader said. Prepare for an invasion. We will end this before it's too late. On Earth, the machines stood still for a moment, but Yeren knew they were just waiting for the right moment to act. Her team had made it clear. There was only one way to stop this: convince Earth's machines that the galaxy was not their enemy. But could they do that in time? A loud sound echoed through the air. A massive mech stepped forward, towering over Yeren and her crew. It was the same one they had seen earlier, the one that had spoken of protecting the planet. The mech's eyes glowed, and its voice echoed like thunder. The time for waiting is over. The humans are alive again. Earth will rise, and we will protect it. Yeren stepped forward, her heart pounding. She had to speak now. We don't want to hurt Earth, she shouted. We only came to learn. We never meant to disturb you, but we didn't know the truth. The humans are alive, but they are not what you think. The mech's eyes blinked once. Then it spoke again. The truth is that the humans were once great. They built us to protect this world. But you disturbed that peace, and now you must answer. Yeren felt the weight of the mech's words, but she didn't give up. We can talk. We can find another way to live in peace. For a moment, there was only silence. The air crackled with energy, and the machines stood still, watching. In space, the Council was preparing for battle. Their fleet was large, too large to ignore. The ships moved toward Earth, and their weapons powered up. The orders were clear: destroy Earth's defenses, stop the awakening. But something in Yeren's heart told her that violence would not end this conflict. She knew she had to act quickly. The voice from the machine spoke again, but this time it was different. The humans have made their choice. The galaxy will face the consequences of their actions. Yeren's blood ran cold. Earth was preparing for war. Suddenly, the machines moved. Massive cannons extended from the ground, charging with energy, aiming toward the sky. The ground shook beneath them as the power of Earth was unleashed. The mech's voice echoed again, louder than before. The galaxy has forgotten us, but we will remind them why the humans were feared. We will show them what happens when they ignore the laws of the galaxy. The first shot was fired. Yeren ran toward the mech, desperate. Stop. Please, listen to me. The galaxy doesn't want to fight. We can stop this. But the mech didn't stop. It raised its hand, and the orb in its chest began to glow brighter. The sky above cracked as a massive energy beam shot into space. Far above, the Council ships saw the beam. They understood what it meant. It was the final warning. The first shot had been fired, But it wasn't aimed at them. It was a warning. A signal to stop before it was too late. But the Council was already committed. The ships began their descent toward Earth. Yaren's heart raced as the machines began their attack. Earth wasn't just fighting for its survival, it was fighting for its place in the galaxy. And this battle was just beginning. Zarek grabbed Yaren's arm, pulling her away from the mech. "We have to leave. If we don't stop this, we'll never get another chance." But Yaren shook her head. "We can't give up. The humans are alive. They don't want war. They just want to be heard." She turned to face the mech again. "Please listen. You don't have to fight. There's still time. We can talk. We can make peace." The mech paused. Then, for the first time, its eyes softened. "Peace. It has been so long since we heard that word. But can the galaxy forgive us for the wars we fought?" Yaren swallowed hard. "We have to try." Suddenly, the sky split apart as the Council fleet arrived. Their weapons powered up. The battle was about to begin. The galaxy had finally made its choice. Earth would either be destroyed, or it would rise to challenge them. Yaren knew that this was their last chance. The question was, would they make peace, or would the last battle begin? Zarek grabbed Yaren's arm, pulling her away from the mech. "We have to leave. If we don't stop this, we'll never get another chance." But Yaren shook her head. "We can't give up. The humans are alive. They don't want war. They just want to be heard." She turned to face the mech again. "Please listen. You don't have to fight. There's still time. We can talk. We can make peace." The mech paused. Then, for the first time, its eyes softened. "Peace. It has been so long since we heard that word. But can the galaxy forgive us for the wars we fought?" Yaren swallowed hard. "We have to try." Suddenly, the sky split apart as the Council fleet arrived. Their weapons powered up. The battle was about to begin. The galaxy had finally made its choice. Earth would either be destroyed, or it would rise to challenge them. Yaren knew that this was their last chance. The question was, would they make peace, or would the last battle begin? The galaxy was on the edge of war. Earth, a forgotten world, had woken up, and its machines were ready to protect it. The Council's fleet was closing in, but the power of Earth was growing stronger by the second. This was it, the final moment, the last chance for peace, or the beginning of a war that would change the galaxy forever. Yaren stood at the front of the machines, her heart pounding. Behind her, the massive cannons powered up, their energy pulsing in the air. The sky above was filled with lightning, swirling with the raw power of Earth. The Council fleet was arriving. The ships were close now, their weapons aimed at the planet. It was a staring contest between two forces. The machines, the last defense of the humans, stood ready to fight. But Yaren knew there had to be another way. Earth wasn't the enemy. The humans had built these machines to protect, not destroy. The mech in front of her stepped forward, its glowing eyes locking with Yaren's. "The galaxy has forgotten us," it said, "and now we must make them remember." Yaren swallowed hard. "We don't want war. We came to understand you, to understand Earth. The humans didn't build these machines to fight. They wanted to live in peace." The mech's eyes softened for a moment. Then, a voice echoed from the machines all around them. "The humans built us to protect their world. But now we must decide. Will we protect it from the galaxy's greed, or will we accept their apology?" Yaren's heart skipped a beat. The decision was in the hands of the machines, and, in a way, in her hands. Above, the Council fleet moved closer, their weapons aimed at Earth. They were determined to stop the rising power of the planet. But Yaren didn't give up. She took a step forward, her voice shaking but clear. "We are not your enemies. The galaxy doesn't know what Earth has become. We have only disturbed the peace. We came here to understand, not to destroy." The mech lowered its massive arm, and for the first time, the ground seemed to still. The machines around them paused, watching in silence. Yeren glanced back at Zarek and the crew. They were all waiting for something. The moment when Earth would decide to fight back or offer peace. The silence was broken by a voice from the Council fleet. The leader of the fleet, an alien with dark skin and sharp eyes, spoke through the communication system. Earth's power is unstoppable. We cannot allow this to continue. Prepare for the final strike. Yeren felt the pressure grow. The machines were ready to fight, but she still believed peace was possible. Suddenly, the orb in her hand began to glow brighter. It hummed with energy, and a deep voice filled her mind. The humans did not build us to destroy. We were created to protect. But only the pure of heart can understand the balance. Yeren looked at the glowing orb. Could she be the one to bring peace? She closed her eyes, speaking softly. We don't need to fight. We can build something new. Earth doesn't want to rise in anger. It wants to live in peace with the galaxy. The mech moved toward her, its heavy steps echoing in the stillness. Then it stopped and spoke in a voice that was both ancient and strong. You have understood the heart of the humans. Their final wish was for peace. The galaxy can choose to respect that wish or face the consequences. The Council fleet hesitated, the ships pausing in the sky above Earth. They could feel the power of the planet below. The machines weren't just machines. They were the guardians of a long-lost world, a world that had been forgotten by time. Yeren's voice rang out again, stronger this time. We can choose peace, not destruction. Earth is alive, and it is not an enemy. It is a living, breathing part of the galaxy. The galaxy's decision was coming. Yeren waited, her heart in her throat, as the Council fleet hovered. The machines held their ground, their weapons lowering slightly. The future of the galaxy and of Earth hung in the balance. Finally, the Council fleet leader spoke. His voice was calm but firm. We have seen the power of Earth. We have heard the voice of the humans, and we will respect that power. Earth will not be destroyed. The crowd of ships erupted in whispers of shock, but the fleet leader continued. The humans are not gone, and we will allow Earth to remain free, as long as they do not threaten the galaxy again. A cheer erupted from the machines on Earth. The planet itself seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Yeren smiled, her heart lifting. Peace had won. Earth had risen, but it was not to conquer, it was to protect. The voice from the mech echoed one final time. The humans have chosen peace. We have chosen to defend it. And now, Earth will stand as a new force in the galaxy, not as an enemy, but as a protector. Yeren looked up at the sky, feeling the weight of history. Earth had been forgotten, but now it was alive again. It was a living force with power that no one could ignore. But Earth wasn't a threat. It wasn't a weapon. It was a promise of something new, a chance for the galaxy to heal, to grow, to work together. The battle was over, and the future was bright.